Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Well, it's a warm one this afternoon. It's overcast, but it's quite warm. And I don't think I'll be able to stay over here in the shed for too long because it's a little bit stuffy in here today. It's been closed up for most of the week, so there's not a lot of fresh air. I've just let the sheep out into the grass area here by the shed, so I keep kind of watching them as they run past, excited by the grass. And I don't know if I told you this, but they've actually been really good when I've been going to put them back into their main paddock. It seems to be a bit of an indicator for them that as soon as I close the sliding door here and lock it, that they just sort of trudge back into their paddock and let me lock the gate behind them and shut them out of the grass. Hopefully that happens again today. So far, that has been the way we've been going, and it's been super helpful because it means I don't have to then try and bribe them with any extra grain or food to get them back. And that's especially helpful right now because we have our Belter Galloway cows grazing through the stock run, which is in between the sheep paddock and where I get the grain from. So if the cows are about and they're in an inquisitive or excitable mood, they like to follow along and try and get into that food as well. So it's easier if I don't have to muck around with that, especially if those cows are close by. Oh, the I've got the windows open, so the breeze is coming through, which is actually making it much more pleasant in here. Maybe I can stay a little while and get some things done. All of my roses are in bloom at the moment, which is really beautiful. I love my rose bushes. I have the one that I dug out and removed from around my nana's old house and planted at the front of the unit where I live now. And I also have the one that I planted in memory of my little dog Wade, who I lost a few years ago. So whenever I walk past that one, especially, it chokes me up a little bit, but it's lovely to see it flowering right now. It is a really fragrant rose, really beautiful and really soft, velvety petals, but it has these huge, really gnarly thorns on it as well, which kind of reflects what his personality was like. He was a snuggly, cute little dog, but he also had this sort of like slightly vindictive and grumpy personality when he wanted to. So yeah, it chokes me up a little bit, but also brings a smile to my face to have that rose going so well. I think the most I'm going to end up speaking to you about today is business stuff. I've been quite busy in the dye pots this week, and I have a market coming up on Saturday, the 6th of December, at the All About Fibre and Yarn market in Lower Templestowe. It's the Christmas market. It should be quite a big one. Last year, there were a lot of vendors there. It's a good, large space. There is a spot to sit and craft, and they are having prize giveaways. I think it's every half hour. So if you attend, you get a raffle ticket when you enter, and you have the chance to have your name drawn out and win a prize from one of the vendors. So I'll be adding a little prize to that, and there'll also be a decorated tree, which is always fun. We all contribute to the tree decorations. Before I get on to what I've done this week, thank you to everyone who came and visited me in Warragul last week. It was a really great market. There weren't many of us selling there, but we had lots of great visitors, some really good conversations with people, and I had a really lovely day. I tried out my new system with my big trolley, and it meant that I only had to make 5 trips into the venue. That does still sound like a lot, I know, and I'm saying only 5, but 2 of those trips were with my big racks that have everything hanging off it. So they can't go in a trolley anyway. So I really was only down to 3 trips for everything else, which is fabulous. It meant that I could throw all of the sort of loose bits and pieces that I would normally have to carry separately on top of, I could just throw them in on top of the tubs that I had laying flat in this wheel trolley, and they didn't topple over or fall. and it made carrying in everything so much easier. The only downfall is that it actually takes up a much bigger space in, whoops, the wind just blew something over. The only downfall is that it takes up a bit more space in the car. So I have to factor that in to my packing situation so that I can fit the trolley in, as well as all of the tubs that need to go along with it. I had to play around and do a little bit of Tetrising to fit everything in differently to how I would normally do it, but I was able to fit everything in. And then on the way back, I managed to collapse down a tub, so I even had more space, which was really, really great. All right, now to the things that I have dyed up this week. So I'm not going to get a chance to do a whole ton of dyeing, but I did get a few colorways dyed up that will be fresh for the market this coming weekend, next weekend, the 6th of December. I have some mocha, so it's light brown. I did a batch of denim, so it's sort of a light grey with tones of bluey purple throughout. I did some tequila sunrise, so it's a mostly light orange with sections of pink through it. And pine lime splice, which is bright green, but does have a little bit of sort of different tones of green, but also slightly leaning towards yellow as well. So these will be the fresh colours that I'll have at Lower Templestowe, and I will also have my Christmas yarn as well. So I have this year's colourway, which is Tinsel on the Tree, and I have that in a 4-ply and an 8-ply sparkle alpaca merino blend, and it creates sort of micro stripe kind of look as well, like in socks, or can be used as assigned pooling. I almost forgot what I was saying there. So that's quite fun. Now, I will also have a very small amount of my previous 2 years colorways for Christmas as well. I had a little bit left over on DK yarn from both of those years. I'm not dyeing any more of that. And after this Christmas, there will be no more of this dyed up except for what I have left as well. At this stage, I do have the recipes, so I could go back and do something special for a Christmas in the future with some older colorways. But at the moment, they will just be retired as single year colors, except for whatever I have left over, which will only go to markets. So I have a little bit of Dancing Sugar Plums in the DK Sparkle, and that was from 2023. And this is Bright and Merry from last year, from Christmas 2024. And also I only have it on the DK as well. So you can see the last 3 years of Christmas colorways. So yeah, you can grab those at the market on the 6th of December. I will also have at the market my Christmas decorations, limited numbers of these as well, and that will be the only run of these that will happen. So if you want one of those, you will need to come and see me then as well. I think that is everything that's going on business-wise. As you can see, I've been a little bit busy with that stuff, and I'm looking forward to the Christmas market because it's always so much fun. First to what I'm wearing this week. This is the Daybreak Tee by Destiny Maya. I will put the details below. It is knitted out of an 8-ply recycled denim yarn, and it is a really comfortable, easy to knit, nice t-shirt, perfect for this kind of weather. And I think being the sort of the cotton denim is a much easier thing to wear in a DK for here in Australia than a wool version would be. So really happy with this one. All right, not a ton of knitting to share. I always feel bad and that I feel like I need to apologize when I don't have that much. But I have still only been working on my love cardigan, which is out of Dizzy Devil yarns in a Geo Funk set. So it was a series of 4 different coloured purples, as well as some hand dyed yarn by Robin of the Unwind Craft Cafe. And I have finished the body. It is not on needles at all at the moment. I literally bound off the bottom of this yesterday afternoon, and I was at a point in the evening that I could not be bothered picking up sleeve stitches. But that could be this afternoon job, because then I want to keep knitting on it. So I'm just going to show you the whole thing and then I can talk about it a little bit. Actually, the back's probably easier to see. One sec. So as you can see, I've got the lighter colour working down through till the darker colour at the end. This colour here is coming up, I feel like, a little bit more pink on the screen than it actually is. It feels a bit more purple in person. I have not done the patterning for this version of my love cardigan. I have just done it all in stockinette, but I have added some garter detail around the shoulders, as well as next to the collar here and along the side panels. And then for the bottom bind off, I decided to do an I-cord edge rather than just a regular bind off. I think on my previous version of this, I did a tubular bind off. I didn't feel like sewing all the way along this cardigan. It was just a lot, and I remember doing it last time and it took me forever. Totally worth it when you end up with a beautiful edge, but I wanted something a little bit more sturdy, like sturdy looking on this. Like, obviously it's really stretchy and it's going to block out and make this look beautiful, but I wanted it to kind of match with the slip stitch edge that is along the hem of the front of the cardigan. So I thought that an I-cord bind off would be the most appropriate for that. And I think I'll do an I-cord bind off for the sleeves as well. So it's quite long. It comes down to below my bottom, and I'm super happy with the length and the fit so far. So now I just have to make sure that the sleeves do the same thing. What I'll also need to do this afternoon before I begin is to weigh and split all of my little mini skeins, the bits that transition the colours in between, so that I only use half for each sleeve. And I think I'm going to be okay with all of the other colours. I've got most of the dark, and then I've got a good chunk of the 2 middle colours and not so much of the first colour, but I'm only going to do that for the first few rows of the sleeve before I start my transition into the new colour. So I'm going to have plenty of all of these. What I might do, I'm thinking out loud now, is I might knit the sleeves 2 at a time. So if I cast on both, then I can just pull from both ends of each ball, and then I don't have to split everything, and I'll be able to fairly quickly gauge what's going on in terms of my meterage for each of the sections. I am going to have to do a little bit of maths, I think, to figure out how long my sleeves are going to be. If I do a similar amount of colour in between each, I'm going to end up with super long. So that if I did the same as I've done here, actually, let's do it this way because that'll make more sense. I think that it'll come to about, to like halfway up my hand. So I probably don't need to make the stripes quite as long for my arms. So I'm going to have to make a decision early about how long I make the section so that it looks even and intentional as I go along. Um, and that is all the knitting that I've done. Um, yeah. Uh, my cats have been quite snuggly this week, so that's one reason why. And I don't know, I think some weeks are more productive than others. I've still been looking at patterns for that silk yarn. I had a great suggestion from Sylvia. Thank you very much. To have a look at the Tolster tank pattern. Um, and I probably should have thought about that because the Tolster tee fits you really well. The one thing I think why it didn't come up in my searches is that it is bottom up, and I was looking for something that was top down only because I want to be able to use all of my yarn. So I'm wondering if I'm able to reverse engineer it, or maybe try something like this pattern instead. Um, I don't know. It's still up in the air about what pattern I had that one, which probably will work, but I haven't kind of taken that any further. Also, I've just been selected for a very secret test knit. So I have not started it yet, but it's a short turnaround, and I need to decide on my yarn and start on that as well. Thank goodness I will be on holiday and going away, so I will have some very quiet, dedicated knitting time to be able to get through that. But I'm excited for that one. It will be coming out, I think, in late February or March, the pattern. So when it does come out, I can then share that with you. But at the moment, it is a complete secret. I might be able to show you the yarn that I'm using, but probably not. I will keep it all on the quiet for now. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.